that interaction, purported interaction with Mr. Williams?
I did not. I did not. I have had opportunities to speak with former Detective Quinn, but I've not asked him about these statements. I thought that we'd take it to this court first, but I did not do that. Anyway, those are my my issues with that. I also, if you admit it, in interaction number 4, Mr. Williams is again with Mr. Walter Murphy, according to Detective Quinn, who identifies, I presume, Walter Murphy, or will recognize Walter Murphy in front of the jury. And that again bleeds over to my request that you take in consideration not to admit the May 12, 2013 supposed armed robbery involving, and I'm just using initials, Miss A.B., that I've argued before. You've denied it, but it's being admitted, I presume, for association, and it's not an overt act. The district attorney's office position is an overt act doesn't have to be charged, and it automatically comes in. I can't find any case that supports that. So this is another, I offered to stipulate that the two associated, but it's just another example of why the other act does not need to come in. But I hope I'm making myself clear. I didn't get proper notice. I'm not saying that the prosecution had the proper notice. I'm just saying that former Detective Quinn is on the prosecution team, so it's imputed, and that at this point in time, if it always happens, I'm not blaming anyone, but it's going to become potentially expanded, or Mr. Williams, I told him this and he didn't make a statement, and the silence is ambiguous, and generally, no probative value, and that's out of the State versus Orr case.
All right.
And it changed the law from Mallory, M-A-L-L-O-R-Y versus State, where it was automatically out of silence. So that's it. That's my argument. Excluded as too prejudicial rather than probative, but that law changed.
Okay, where in Orr are you talking about, Mr. Steele?
Very end.
At the very end?
If you go to the very end of the opinion, and I'm not saying that we're looking at the same opinions, but if Your Honor goes to, if you see the very end of the opinion, you'll have, it's going upwards, so you're going backwards, you'll have C. You'll see the last paragraph starts with a C, as in Colette, Charlie. And then if you go above that, you'll start with another paragraph, but we also recall, and if you go above that to the next paragraph, that's where it is. It's in the indent. It starts with, we have consistently doubted the probative value in criminal trials of evidence that the accused fled from the scene of an actual supposed, hold on one second, Your Honor. Hold on one second. I'm sorry, it's in the paragraph above that. It starts with, it should be reiterated, if you can find that, Your Honor.
Yes.
That the exercise of discretion under 403 is a case specific. I lost my place, hold on. And usually turns on the trial court's assessment of probative value and prejudicial effect of the particular evidence. In this respect, we note that the United States Supreme Court admonition that in most instances, silence is so ambiguous that it is of little probative force, especially if the defendant does not later testify inconsistently. That's where I took that from. Those are our, I'll answer any question, but I'm just, anticipating that this is going to be a fluid situation. There's going to be more statements. There's going to be assertions made to Mr. Williams that he didn't answer that's not in here. And I just want to protect the record and Mr. Williams and make this objection. If you admit the evidence, I'd like it to be tight to.
I mean, he can't. I would be troubled if there were other statements that were made that you
around this. And that's why I asked you if you'd had the opportunity to interview him, so that sometimes when people recollect things, they, the written certainly aspect is a portion of what they actually do remember. So that's why I asked you whether or not you had taken that opportunity to do so.
I understand.
Okay?
But
All right.
those are my concerns.
All
I
right.
wanted to raise them to your honorable court
Okay, all right.
and to the district attorney's office.
All right, let me hear from the state and then I'll make a decision.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Hilton, so you all got, Mr. Steele's first concern is under 1716-4A, et cetera, and then 1716-7. These statements should have been turned over 10 days prior to trial.
Yes, Your Honor. So first, I do want to address 1716-7 and 1764, and I want to direct the court to Watley v. State, which is 326, Georgia App 81, which is a 2014.
81, you said?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And it's a 2014 case. And specifically, we are in
Page 326.
it'd be on page 87.
Okay, I have it.
Your Honor, and what Watley states is that the statutory obligation of 1716-7 is not triggered when a witness merely makes an oral statement. There can be no possession, custody, or control of a witness statement which has neither been recorded nor committed to writing. So, Your Honor, in this case, there was no previous written or recorded statement about what Detective Quinn told the state. It actually came up very organically as we were preparing for testimony. He said, he advised the state, oh, well, I saw Mr. Williams as this was going on at my extra job. And of course I inquired, what are you speaking of? And then that's when he proceeded to go into further detail about it. So this wasn't anything that was in any type of reports or anything like that. And as soon as Detective Quinn gave the state that information, we immediately provided it so that there could be an account. Your Honor, again, this is a summary of what he told the state. I would ask for Detective Quinn to come so the court can hear it yourself, how this interaction came up and what exactly he said to us. So that the court can hear it itself and be comfortable in what Detective Quinn told us. And I believe what Detective Quinn would tell Mr. Steele or any of the other defense attorneys had they taken the time to interview him. In addition to this, Your Honor, we provided in the statement that this statement involves Mr. Walter Murphy and Ms. Dolly Greer. Ms. Greer is Mr. Williams' sister, so Mr. Steele had the opportunity to interview her to determine whether or not there was any validity to this. The state also, again, provided the copy of the phone log that has Dolly's phone number in there. And matter of fact, Detective Quinn titled her phone number Dolly-Young Thug Sis to corroborate that this interaction occurred. And then lastly, they had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Walter Murphy. The state knows, because I've had an opportunity to briefly speak with Mr. Murphy, that Mr. Murphy has met with defense counsel, specifically Mr. Steele, at least 2 times at this point. And so there was an opportunity to talk about this, whether or not these events happened. He could have spoken to Detective Quinn, Mr. Murphy, as well as Dolly Greer, to determine whether or not this incident has occurred, or these series of events have occurred. So we would ask, as it relates to the disclosure, the state did what it was supposed to do. Once we learned about it, we turned it over immediately so that we were not going to surprise defense counsel during trial and bring this out. We wanted them to be aware of it, and we took the necessary steps in order for that to occur. Next, Your Honor, as it relates to State v. Orr, that is not valid anymore. What Orr states is that the Mallory test is not valid. And so what the court has to look is to do a 403 analysis to determine whether or not this information is substantially prejudicial. And we would believe, Your Honor, that given, again, the current cross-examination of witnesses in this case as it relates to Detective Quinn's interactions, Detective Quinn's investigation, the theory that Detective Quinn or detectives or police officers with the Atlanta Police Department has either destroyed evidence, hidden evidence, interjected themselves into this case. We believe that this is these encounters are important because what these encounters show is that Detective Quinn had no ill will towards Mr. Williams. Matter of fact, he did not take out arrest warrants and explain that to Mr. Williams. So much so that Mr. Williams in turn tried to offer him a job. And I think that that is important for the jurors to hear, given this idea that Detective Quinn has, in this particular case, has in some way, shape, or form interjected himself in it and has a vendetta against Mr. Williams. This shows very clearly he does not have a vendetta against Mr. Williams and did not have a vendetta against Mr. Williams. And matter of fact, wanted Mr. Williams to just go forth in his music career, continue to be successful, and like he literally told him, stay off of Cleveland Avenue. And so, Your Honor, we would ask that you allow this testimony in. Again, if the court wants to hear specifically what Detective Quinn remembers about these encounters, he is right outside. You can hear from himself so the court can be satisfied with what the testimony will be because it will stay within the confines of what he remembers, Your Honor. And again, for him, it's also 10 years ago and he's basing those interactions off of his memory as well.
Based upon your interview with the state's interview with Detective Quinn, is he going to testify within the confines of the court's exhibit that's been submitted for the purposes of this particular hearing?
Yes, but I don't want to, it says within the confines, but if he says one additional fact, I don't want it to be, withdrawn because if there might be an additional fact. This was really a summary of that encounter. But that was the summary as he had explained it to the state. I don't think anything would veer too far off of these encounters, but again, I'll feel more comfortable for the court to hear from him because again, these were the encounters that he relayed to us. I don't think there's anything far out of the bounds of here, but again, this was a summary of what he told us.
All right. Okay. Detective Quinn's on side?
Yeah.
All right, can we bring him in, please? All right, Detective Quinn, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Judge.
All right, sir, if you could have a seat in the witness chair, please. And I just still remind you that you're still on the road, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you would be so kind to kind of reflect back to 2013, when I understand from counsels that you had an extra job working at Neiman Marcus.
Yes, sir.
And that you had 4 interactions with Mr. Williams,
Yes.
reportedly, and that you summarized that in a written statement, gave that to the defense, and this is consistent with the preparation that around December of 2023 that you had with the representatives from the state of Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. If you could tell the court a little bit about those particular 4 interactions, as much as you can recall, consistent with what you told them.
Yes, sir.
Them being the state, okay?
Yes. So while in the throes of the investigation into what happened down at 126 Cleveland Avenue and 2745 O'Hageville, I worked this extra job at Neiman Marcus at that time, I guess, since 2004. So I'm there every Friday. I had never seen Jeffrey Williams, to my knowledge, even come in the store. But a week, maybe two into my investigation, Jeffrey Williams comes in to Neiman Marcus, and I'm sitting on a stool. I've got on my City of Atlanta police uniform. I'm not a detective in my detective attire. And I waved him over. I said, come here, let me holler at you right quick. I told him directly right then and there, this joker named Bean, he's put you in this car that went off that cliff over there on Old Hateville, right into 126 Cleveland. I said, I'm telling you that because you're going to get the discovery anyway from somebody else in the car. You know what I mean? You're going to learn this happen. I'm telling you up front, I'm giving you 100%. This guy's putting you in the car. But what I did tell him was, the same guy, Bean, was identifying which gun he had during this commission of this robbery that turned into a police shooting. And I said, I'm not going to lock you up based on what Bean said alone. If there's DNA, because Touch DNA was really moving in 2013, if Touch DNA comes back with male profiles on him, I just said to him, boom. Are you going to make me come get you with a warrant, or will you give me a voluntary sample to eliminate you from this case? And I assured, I said, I'm not going to lock you up with what Bean says all along. I need something else. That's how I get down. So Mr. Williams was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. He was adamant. He seemed very nervous because, you know, I'm a uniform officer just coming up with this stuff in him, right, in some store he's coming to on his free time. A few weeks go by, maybe 3, because I got the DNA fast-tracked through the GBI. I learned from the analysts there were too many male contributors to the gun that Bean identified Jeffrey Williams being in possession of. They wouldn't be able to put a usable sample up into CODIS. So a few weeks later, Mr. Williams comes back in the store again. I don't know what day, but it was weeks after the first encounter. I said, yo, come here, let me holler at you. I said, guess what? I can't use that gun against you as corroborative evidence or evidence against you based off what Bean said. So I tell you what, I'm done with it. I did some research on you independently because I didn't know you were about to blow up. I said, and excuse my language, I said, go make $1 million, stay the fuck off, please. That's what I said to him. Maybe a month or 2 goes by after that. I'm at Neiman Marcus again. Now Mr. Williams comes in the store with a couple of people, a small, I guess you would call entourage, just maybe some associates. But in particular, he introduces me to his sister Dolly. Didn't know this sister at all. She gives me her phone number. They asked me, would I be their road security, collectively, between Mr. Williams and his sister. I was like, that's not what I do. This has nothing to do with this case. I did take her number because Dolly gave me her number. I put it in my city issue phone, Dolly, Young Thug's sister, or something to that degree. And that was the end of it. The fourth encounter may have been months on down the road, might have been 6 to 8 weeks. Mr. Williams comes in. We don't have any verbal contact in the fourth encounter. My stool that I sit on is right at the downstairs escalator going in menswear. Mr. Williams is with DK, real name Walter Murphy. And from about 25 feet away from me, he's pointing to Walter Murphy's like right pocket to his pants. And there's a long stack of money in Walter Murphy's pockets as they go on down the escalator. He points at it and he doesn't say anything to me. He just makes reference to it, make sure I see it. I don't know what that meant, you know, but that was that. So those were the encounters.
Okay. All right. Either counsel have any questions based upon the court's inquiry?
I don't have any additional questions.
All right, Mr. Steele, you have any questions based on the court's inquiry?
No, sir.
Okay. Detective, thank you, sir. If you could step back out. Okay. Yeah, sure.
How are you today, sir?
Mr. Steele,
Good to see you, as always.
always a pleasure.
Can I just ask you a couple questions?
Yes, sir.
Did you in any way record, memorialize, write down, you know, any type of note of in any form. I'm not be expansive to remember any one of these 1, 2, 3, or 4 that you just.
I did not at the time, no.
Okay, and when dealing with Mr. Williams, it seems to me there's no custodial situation. This is just come over here. If he didn't want to come over there, he walks away. Is that
Correct.
okay? All right. That's what I make sure.
Okay, all right. Detective, I'll get you to step outside. We'll be
Yes,
with
sir.
you shortly, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any further argument?
No, Your Honor, like I said, I think that's pretty much what's in the paper, but again, for the reasons the state, for the reasons, no additional further argument.
All right, Mr. Steele, anything else, sir?
I'm not going to repeat, Your Honor. The only thing I do want to add new is Watley, which is WHATLEY versus State, which the state cited 326 Georgia Appeal 81/2014. Watley is not part of the prosecution team. It is a wife statement or a woman's statement or a relative statement. Now I'm not targeting it perfectly in my mind, but this detective is part of the prosecution team for purposes of these overt acts, meaning that it's imputed to the state under Kyles, which is KYLES versus Whitley, WHITLEY. That's the United States Supreme Court opinion from 1995. I could get you the site. It's cited often.
Yeah, if you could let me look at the site.
May I just step back 1 second?
Okay.
I get it right now.
US 419.
514 US
Yes, 419.
419. Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
May I just say one sentence and then I'll sit down and let you read? Kyles versus Watley is a Brady case. The government was saying, hey, I didn't know about it, so how could the prosecutors turn over this Brady or Giglio evidence? Giglio is Giglio. And the U.S. Supreme Court said that's not the standard. If a person's part of the prosecution team, it's imputed to the prosecution, just like now. The state can't just hide behind, I don't mean hide in a mean way, but they can't just say, well, we didn't know about it, but a member of our team knew about it. But since we didn't know about it, then the code section under discovery that I cited to Honorable Court do not apply. I don't believe that that's true. So that's why I just tell the court.
All right, councils. I've had an opportunity to take a look at the next court exhibit in order, the statements that were turned over based upon the state's interview with Detective Quinn on or about sometime December 29th of 2023, which chronicled 4 interactions with purportedly with Mr. Williams. His sister Dolly, and then Mr. Walter Murphy. The court's had an opportunity to take a look at or consider, for the purposes of this particular motion, OCGA 17-16-4A1 and OCGA 17-16-7. 17-16-4A, basically indicates that statements should have been, or to be disclosed at least 10 days before trial. It has some other disjunctives or soon thereafter. And then 17-16-7 basically indicates or gives the court directions as to statements that are in the possession of other entities that are imputed upon the state. The court's also had an opportunity to consider State versus Orr at 305 Georgia 729. As well as Whitley at 326 Georgia Appeals 81. The court's also had an opportunity to take a look at OCGA 17-16-6, which is court orders with respect to failure of the state or the defendant to comply. So, and this pertains to the discovery statute. Any time during the course of the proceedings brought to the attention of the court, defendant or the state has failed to comply with the requirements of this article, the court may permit the defendant to inspect, interview the witness, grant a continuance, or if there's a showing of prejudice and bad faith, prohibit the defendant from introducing the evidence, not disclose or presenting the witness, not disclose, or I can enter any other such orders deemed appropriate under the circumstances. So in this particular circumstance, it is of the court's opinion that the state didn't act in bad faith. This is part of the prep that they did for this particular trial. The reason the court asked how long that if Detective Quinn had been interviewed or sought to be interviewed in regards to these particular 4 interactions, because that's what the court would allow the parties to do. Having heard Detective Quinn's interactions and giving the Mr. Williams' counsel as well as the state an opportunity to take to examine him, and also if the statements were turned over to Mr. Williams and other members of the defense team on around December the 29th of 2023, today is March the 25th of 2024. The parties have had some 3 months or thereabouts to talk with Detective Quinn about any of these four statements. So for those reasons, the court will authorize, of course, with the necessary foundation to be laid for Detective Quinn to testify about his interactions with Mr. Williams at the Neiman Marcus store that are fairly contained within the next court's exhibit and order, as well as his proffer and testimony to the court. Now, Mr. Steele, there wasn't, what was the other test in Georgia? I'm trying to remember. Mallory test. Is the state going to comment on Mr. Williams' silence?
No, the state intends, I don't think Mr. Williams was silent at all. I mean, he responded. Based on what Detective Quinn provided, Mr. Williams' response was, I wasn't a part of that, I'm a rapper. And so to the level of that was his interaction, then that's really a self-serving statement, but the state intends to talk about the entire interaction.
Okay. All right. Mr. Steele, I don't think they're going to get into any silence. I mean, they may, I think he may testify about your client's reported physical response to his inquiry, but I don't think that, other than that, there was some discussion. So is there anything else as it relates to that particular part of your motion, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. All right, is there anything else I need to take up in respect to this particular motion, Mr. Steele or Ms. Hilton? But I will authorize the statements to be admitted, subject to a foundation.
No, not on behalf of Mr. Williams, sir.
Okay, all right. Folks, unless there's anything else, let me let you all take 5 minutes. Are all the jurors here, Sergeant Ingram? Okay, for those of you who need to take a comfort break, let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and call for our jurors, okay? Is there anything else I need to take up before I call for our jurors?
Nothing from the state.
Anything on behalf of anybody else?
Not on behalf of Mr. Williams.
Okay, all right. We'll be in recess about 5 minutes.
last week, the interview that we heard, was that the only interview that you did with Mr. Flores-Nava?
Correct.
All right. And as it relates to any other interview, I don't think I asked you this, did you receive any other recordings of any other interview with Mr. Flores-Nava?
I did not.
And did you delete any interviews with Mr. Flores-Nava?
Not at all.
As it relates to Detective Robinson, did you speak with him on site?
I did.
Right. Do you recall if Detective Robinson L provided you any information about how many individuals he saw when he first approached the car back at the apartment complex?
What he actually spoke about was the person he saw with the gun.
Okay. Do you recall him talking about any other individuals he saw within the car?
Well, I know he mentioned the driver because he told me he stood in front of the car with his service weapon pointed at it.
So he at least saw two individuals.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Flores-Nava, how many individuals he said he saw get into the car?
He said 4.
And he said they were male or females.
He said they were males.
As far as Robinson L, how many individuals did he say got into the car? The driver and the person he started shooting, were those males or females?
He said they were males.
And that was the driver and the shooter.
That's correct.
As it relates to September 11th, 2013, you also received information from Booker Higgins.
I did.
Was she able to provide information about how many people she saw within this incident dealing with the red vehicle?
She talked about the shooter. She described him, and she also described the female driver.
Did you also get information from an Officer Antonius Black and an Officer Ashley Davis?
Yes.
Okay. And what was your understanding of their roles in this entire incident?
They secured people that were inside of that burgundy Nissan Sentra that crashed into 126 Cleveland Avenue Laundry.
And where were they seated?
They were actually on the parking lot doing paperwork, out of service, not patrolling, just on the parking lot in their patrol vehicle.
And first, looking at Officer Antonius Black, do you recall how many individuals he observed coming out of that vehicle?
What's the basic objection, sir?
Competitive A and B competition clause hearsay. Repeating.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes.
Officer Black testified, and he is the investigative officer that used this as a part of his investigation.
I'll rule the objection.
As it relates to Antonius Black.
Yeah, there was a statement I reviewed of Antonius Black.
Okay. And do you recall how many individuals that he observed coming out of that vehicle back on September 11th, 2013?
He identified 4, 3 they took into custody. Well, 2, he and Ashley, I can't remember her last name, but his little partner, took into custody.
And do you recall if he said they were males, females, males or females?
Mr. Black said they were males.
And then what about Officer Ashley Davis?
Your Honor, can I just have a continuing objection saying,
You may, sir.
thank you.
Officer Ashley Davis also said 4 males.
And that's what you remember them saying?
Yes.
At this point, all right. Okay, thank you. Your Honor, we're going to finish continuing the claim of State's Exhibit 176, Charlie Bravo, and beginning at 11/12/25.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and I appreciate your honesty about coming clean on this robbery, because it's a robbery. Y'all robbing somebody who, I don't know much about this brother, but he's not supposed to get robbed, no matter what kind of joker he is. It's kind of messy. So, I'm going to let your wife know.
We're going to pause because it was working earlier.
Somebody who, I don't know much about this brother, but he's not supposed to get robbed, no matter what kind of joker he is. It's kind of messy. So, I'm going to let your wife know everything that's going on, if that's okay with you. I appreciate your honesty about coming clean on this robbery, because it's a robbery. Y'all robbing somebody who...
I heard a loud noise, but all was going off with the impact of the crash to the wall. So I can't say. I know DJ could have shot, but he more worried about. You feel what I'm saying? He more worried about his shit, his situation. Cause he had like he had a stack on. So yeah, everything I love, he had a stack. He car, because red rain, like a motherfucker. The red rain, red had a truck on him. He left his car sitting open. Everybody out there said it. DK went into the car, up under the armrest, got the money where he had the money. Covered, got in the car, one gonna tell you shit. I'm gonna tell y'all shit. So, man, I'm just saying, man.
So, I mean, what is this, a robbery case on me or something? I ain't robbing nobody.
What I'm saying is, you based on what you're telling me, you're the driver in a case where DK, the guy you know that got in the car with you, with the tattoo and over the back of K, was told by thugs who I haven't identified yet. I don't know his real name yet. I'm gonna go see if I can find it. DK is the one that got the car, the one you waited on to get back in. But why did you wait on him after he was shooting? Why didn't you just leave that motherfucker? Because you could have left him.
You know, this is, man, you know what I mean?
Why didn't you just leave him up there? Because he was doing shooting. He changed the script on a simple lick.
I'm gonna piss off with
And this is a simple lick.
Yeah, I'm gonna piss
It should
off.
be easy.
I'm gonna piss off with
Y'all changed cars because everybody knows you carry. Let me tell you something. Was Thug in your black Camry earlier when he went to check on his licks?
Nah.
You sure? When he went up to Ken shop. Was Thug using your car or another black Camry?
Thug got a black Challenger.
He got his own car.
Got a black Challenger.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Now, a police officer that did the shoot. When did you first see the uniformed police officer that fired the gun? Did you see it?
Nah, I don't remember police.
Did you ever hear the police give a command? Did you see a police officer? Because they say they saw the guy.
I ain't.
Did you knowingly ram the cop's vehicle trying to leave? Did you know you hit it?
No.
You did not know you hit the cop.
They bumped me.
The cop bumped you.
Yes, sir.
So was it fair to say they tried to lock you in to stop you from leaving? Do you think that happened? I'm just asking.
Yeah, they probably did.
And why didn't you stop? Did you know they were police? Come on, everybody out there saying the police are trying to get you on the stop. Did you know those were police you were fleeing from?
At the point of time, sir, I didn't know because I did not see a uniform cop.
Who did you see in the car that pulled in front of your car? Y'all are nose.
I seen two females.
Two females.
I seen two females. That's all I seen.
And you're running from two females?
I'm getting out of that too. I'm getting out of that.
Come on, keep playing the play.
I'm getting out of that.
You think that these females are trying to hit a lick on you?
No, I ain't say that. I'm saying.
Did you think
I'm thinking maybe when this car stop right here, I don't know if they on this building, one of these buildings. I don't know what's going on, but I know I'm going around.
But you know you got to use your damn. You know they're trying to stop you from leaving. You know that. Yes or no?
I feel a bump.
Do you think they're trying to stop you from leaving that scene where the gunfire was?
I think that I'm going around a car that's still moving, and this car is just all of a sudden don't even see me, so they just hit me anyway.
You never saw a uniform cop?
I ain't seen no police officer.
Did you hear any commands?
I ain't heard no freeze, get down, let me see you. I ain't just none of that.
None of that, okay.
I ain't heard no shots go off by no police officer.
How many shots? I don't want to interrupt you. You finished with that statement?
Yeah, I ain't had no shots go off by no police officer.
How many shots did the police hear? Did anybody in the car mention that was the police? Anybody? You got 4 people in the car.
Fred, nobody. I ain't said nobody. They go 12 shots or nothing.
Okay. You know, this is an interesting situation, man. Y'all went through that yard, hit all the tricycles and shit. Could have been kids on the bikes, man.
I could have lost my own life.
Oh my God, you could have.
At the time,
Y'all could have landed.
Every time I was a kid,
the police car back under that wall. Y'all just missed it. They were just sitting there. They had nothing to do with that shit on here. They were just sitting there. Thank Jesus, Allah, the Dalai Lama, everybody spiritual. Y'all didn't land on that car. Then, you know, it would have been a different situation. It wasn't meant for you to, you know, catch that kind of weight. But, you know, you seem like an older brother. Why you got involved with these young men? You say it to your wife over and over again when I listen to it. Why do you get involved with these young motherfuckers, man? I mean, they don't care about going down the road.
get down there. That's my feeling. They can't wait. That's the same way I got a ring like that. They can't wait to get down there, man. You already know what this shit's about, what life's all about. You are in love. These young jokers only be in love with themselves and their homeboys. They'll never know how to love.
See, I don't bang.
I know you don't bang. I know you don't bang. You're a family man. You got your kids in football. You're active in the school. I did my research on you. You're a good dude, but, you know, and I appreciate your honesty about coming clean on this robbery, because it's a robbery. Y'all robbing somebody. I don't know much about this brother, but he's not supposed to get robbed, no matter what kind of joker he is. It's kind of messy. So I'm gonna let your wife know everything that's going on, if that's okay with you. If not, because I'm not done yet. I said I'm gonna talk to them fools again. I hate to call them fools, but young people scare the fuck out of me. These young boys in the street these days, they don't care about a whole lot, and it really bothers me.
Man, I just want to give you my story. You know, I bullshit around with my family a lot. You know what I mean? I bullshit around with the story a lot. You know what I mean? But I just want to make sure I told you pretty much everything that was wrong.
This sounds like you're the driver. You really cleared something up for me, and I gotta go out here and find a picture of this joke, because it's important. Because I don't think he should get away with it if he was in the car. You're not making this up. Thug was in the car.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let me.
Now I can't testify. I can't do none of that. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't got to testify.
I don't want you to put me on blast front street.
Well, that's not what I do. What I do is I'm trying to go slow and get all the information I need in relation to you, right? That's all I'm talking about. But the other people involved, I mean, it sounds to me like Thug got you all involved. I know you're a grown man and everything, but he came down here with an easy way to make money, it sounds like. And it went, who knew the police were going to be there? Y'all scared the shit out of the police too now. I don't think we don't get scared. We get scared too. We don't run the gunfire all happy about that shit. These cops ran toward what they heard was gunfire. They got to save the good citizens, the bad citizens, everything in between. They don't have a choice. They can't bitch out when it gets hot. That was a hot little scene. They stood up and stayed there. A lot of cops would have rolled the fuck out and reevaluated. Those 3 police officers, they were detectives.
Nobody knew what.
Nobody knew it was us. But y'all were just trying to go get somebody who you believe had cash.
Nobody knew what was up with me going to jail, telling my wife what went on, and I mean.
Was Fred happy about going to this thing or what? I mean, why did he go to this thing?
I can't tell you about Fred. I mean.
Okay, what did he say anything?
With Fred.
Because he had a chance to stay back in the trap.
So what Fred was on is, you know, he just coming home, man. You know what I'm saying? We not robbers. You know what I mean?
That's a young boy that is running.
I couldn't tell you. I'm just saying, me, Fred.
What would be the split in something like that? You go with these 2 little rookies. What's the split gonna be? You know, get more or less or the same? It's gonna be split 4 ways. I mean, just based on what you know.
I mean, you know, it's they move or whatever, man. You know what I mean? So I don't.
How does it work in the street though? If they move, do they get more money than you? They
You know what I mean? Everybody in the car gonna probably, you know what I mean, spit out eating. You know what I mean? Gonna be no.
Let me ask you this. Somebody like Red, he didn't ever see you at all. How do you, what if word got back? You know, let's say everything went right, you got the money. Is this just Atlanta? Because everybody tells me, everybody takes turns robbing each other. Is that the truth?
Yeah, they do that in the city, man. I've been robbed.
It's been going on this year. And you seen Joe in the
I've
store.
been robbed 4 times this year.
And you probably been seeing the person that robbed.
You know what I mean?
Have you? Or you know where they are?
I won't tell you that.
Oh, you don't?
I've been robbed 4 times. You know, it is what it is. We all hustling in these streets. I mean, you can't pick up the phone.
When the game first started, I know you were young.
They just took my drugs or something like that. So, you know what I mean? It's all drug money, it's weed, you know what I mean? They selling weed, drugs, you know what I mean? So, you know, who's gonna call the cops and tell the cops that I just got a wrong drug money? You got people coming from North Carolina, all different types of states coming out here and getting took out for their money and getting something back. They don't even report it. You know what I'm saying?
Now they gotta go talk to their boss, man.
Like you say, this particular day right here, police was on the scene, DK get out.
Why didn't you call it off? You weren't sure they were cops? Or what? You just weren't sure?
I didn't even know what.
But you on the got a call. Let me tell you this. If he didn't start shooting and just robbed him straight up, the police would have never known what was up. They'd never seen that shit. It was the gunfire. That's what made them come back. They would have went on there and knocked on the door about smoke spray and bullshit. They were in there investigating a whole nother robbery. It happened early that morning and nothing to do with y'all. And so, if he had to fire that gun, then it would have been a lick on it. Let's have them around. You can wet walking all day long. They would have got the money because he had a stack. A little more, a little less, but it was a stack. And it was in his pockets. And when you get the police report, you're going to see where the first officer that got DK while he's bleeding, because the money's bloody as fuck. I got a picture of it. I'm going to go pick him up now. Bloody fucking money that he hit in the legs, which I think happened in the car. Bloody fucking money. It's a stack. That's exactly what Red had. He had already paid out what the fuck he was dealing with before. That money was gone. Now all he had was, I guess, his rate. He's about to go back in the house. So he lived there. They down there saying he was robbing them. Was Red robbing you? Did he rob your car? Yes or no? No? Yes?
No, Red robbed.
Okay, because let me tell you something. It doesn't make sense to me.
I used to go with Red mom, man. Me and Red, we go way back, man.
But check it out.
I can see Red right now, man. And Red knows straight up, man, that if I knew that was Red, man, if that was Dirty Red, it robbing would never happen anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing of it is like this.
If I was seeing Red, man,
So you're going to win Red running.
if I seen Dirty Red running, I'd go Dirty Red, say, hey, Dirty Red, oh, DK, you tripping, man. These my people. These are my people.
Okay. So you thought it was some other Red that had
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know this dude.
Yes or no? You thought it was another Red that had that check?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I didn't know this dude was my folks.
And when I say that check, I mean the money.
Yeah.
Whatever, how much it was.
No, it's stolen to make anyway. It ain't my liquor.
Okay. All right, it's their intelligence. They create the intelligence. They get the legwork on the leg.
And they move, so it ain't, I don't
What's the
I don't know if you have 15,000, 1,000, or anything.